Hello everyone, I am Santosh KG, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, MIT, Mysore. In today's session, I am going to solve some problems on theories of failure which comes under subject Mechanics of Material having subject code 18ME32. So before solving the problems, let us recall what are the formulas we will be using in theories of failure to solve the problems. So first we should know how we can calculate the stress if a given member is subjected to an axial load. So here I have taken a structural member and it is subjected to load in the axial direction. So if a member is subjected to load in the axial direction, due to this axial load, the normal stress or the axial stress is going to induce in a body which is denoted by sigma suffix a, and it can be calculated by using the formula load divided by cross sectional area. Here PA, it represents the amount of axial load that is applied on a given member, and A represents the cross sectional area of a given member. So under the axial load, the member is going to elongate, or if you are applying a compressive load along the axial direction, then the length of the member is going to decrease. So if the member length increases or decreases, in total we can call it as a change in length. So whenever you are going to apply a load and if the resulting effect is the change in the length of a member, then the corresponding stress induced in a member, it is always normal in nature and it is always denoted by sigma. Since this normal stress is induced because of the load which is applied in the axial direction, we are denoting the normal stress. Below the normal stress, we have given a suffix a. So sigma a represents the normal stress due to the axial load, and it will be equals to PA divided by A. Similarly, the given member, it can be subjected to a bending moment like this. So if a member is subjected to a bending moment like this, it results in the bending of a member. So whenever under the action of a given load, if a member is subjected to bending, then the type of stress induced in the member, it is called as a bending stress. And in order to calculate the bending stress that will be induced in a member, we will be using the equation M divided by I equals sigma B divided by Y, or if you simplify this equation in terms of sigma B, we are going to get it as sigma B equals M divided by I into Y. So here M represents the magnitude of the bending moment which is applied on a given structural member, and I represents the moment of inertia of a given cross section. So if the given cross section happens to be circular, then the moment of inertia I, it can be calculated by using the formula pi times d to the power of 4 divided by 64. So in this equation, d, it represents the diameter of the circular member, and y, it represents the distance between the center of the circle to the circumference, which is nothing but the radius. So here y represents r, or it will be d divided by 2. This is how we can find the value of I and y if the given cross section happens to be circular in nature. Suppose if the given cross section is, let us say, rectangle which is having the length, horizontal length of B and the vertical length of H. So, in this case, in order to calculate the value of I can use the equation. So, if I am calculating I, let us say along the horizontal axis, then Ixx will be equals to P H cube divided by 12. Then the value of y, in this case it is the distance of the extreme fiber from the neutral axis, and it will be equals to total distance h divided by 2. So, the value of y will be equals to h by 2. Next, if a given member, if it happens to subjected to a next kind of load which is a torsion. So, if a member is subjected to torsion, it results in the twisting of a member. So, if a member twists under the action of a given load, then the type of stress induced in a member, it is shear in nature, since the shear stress is induced due to the application of the torque. We are going to call such type of stress as a torsional shear stress, and in order to calculate the torsional shear stress, we will be making use of the torsional equation which is given by T divided by J equals tau divided by R equals G theta divided by L. So, in most of the problem, in order to calculate the value of the shear stress induced due to the torque, we will be evaluating the first term with the second term, that is, we are evaluating T by J equals tau divided by R. So, here I need to get the value of tau. So, tau will be equals to T divided by J into R. So, here T represents the amount of torque that is applied on a given member. J, it represents the polar moment of inertia. If the given cross section happens to be circular, then we can calculate the polar moment of inertia along x-axis axis or along y axis. So, the value of the polar moment inertia along x-axis or along y, it will be equals to pi times d to the power of 4 divided by 32, and r, it represents the radius of the given circular cross section. So, if the diameter of the given cross section, if it happens to be denoted by d, then the value of r, it will be equals to d divided by 2, and these three are the common type of load a structural member will be subjected to, and due to this three common type of load, we will get the axial stress, bending stress as well as the torsional shear stress. Here we can see that because of the axial load, the type of stress induced is normal in nature, and because of the bending load, the type of stress induced, it is normal because it is denoted by sigma. So, when a given member, if it happens to be subjected to both the axial load, along with that if we are having a bending moment like this. So, because of the axial load, I will be getting the normal stress which is denoted by sigma A, and because of this bending load, I will be getting a normal stress because of the moment which is denoted by sigma B. And if a given member is subjected to both the axial and bending load, then the maximum normal stress induced in a member, let us say we are going to denote it by sigma, and it will be equals to sigma A plus sigma B. Since these two loads are normal in nature, we can add them to get the resultant stress when a given member is subjected to both axial as well as the bending load. Then if a given member, if it happens to be subjected to a load which is parallel to the cross sectional area. So here this is the area which I have considered. So to this area the load PS, it is acting tangentially or parallelly. So if the load is acting tangentially or parallel to the given cross sectional area, then the type of stress induced, it will be a shear type, and we are going to denote that shear stress as a transverse shear stress, and it can be calculated by using the formula load divided by cross sectional area. So here PS represents the transverse load, or it is a parallel load or a tangential load divided by A, which is the cross sectional area of a given member. Then in order to calculate if a given member is subjected to a combination of an axial load plus a torsion load, or if a given member it can be subjected to a combination of bending load plus a torsional load, or if a given member it can be subjected to a combination of an axial load or bending load and the torsional load. So if these are the conditions, then a given member will be subjected to both the normal stress as well as shear stress. Suppose if I consider the first condition, that is if a given member is subjected to a combination of the axial load, let us say it is P suffix A, and also it is subjected to a torsion T. So because of this axial load, the type of stress induced in a member, it is a normal stress, and because of this the torsional load, the type of stress that will be induced in a member is tau. So here since the member is subjected to both the normal stress as well as the shear stress, then in order to calculate the maximum normal stress that is induced in a member, we can use the equation sigma max will be equals to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. So using this equation we can calculate the maximum normal stress that will be induced in a member if a given member is subjected to both the axial stress as well as the shear stress. Similarly, if you consider the second case, so in second case a given member is subjected to a bending load with a torsional load. So here because of the bending moment I will get a stress which is normal in nature, and because of the torsion we will get a stress which is shear in nature. So here also due to the given load combination, the type of stress that is induced in a member, it is both normal as well as shear. So if a member is subjected to this kind of stress, then in order to calculate the maximum normal stress we can make use of the same equation, that is sigma max will be equals to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. Now if I take case 3, in case 3 the given member will be subjected to three kinds of loading. So the first load is an axial load, and the second load is a bending moment, and the last load that is acting on a member is torsion. So if a member is subjected to three kinds of loading like this, then because of the axial load, we will get the normal stress which is denoted by sigma A, and because of the bending moment we get a normal stress which is denoted by sigma B, and because of the torque we will get a shear stress which is denoted by tau. So, here we can add sigma A and sigma B in order to get one normal stress, and a member will be subjected to a normal stress sigma which is a summation of sigma A plus sigma B and a shear stress tau. So, in this case also, in order to find the maximum normal stress, we will be using the same equation, that is sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. Then we will be using two theories. One is called as a maximum normal stress theory, and the second one is a maximum shear stress theory. So, the maximum normal stress theory statement is like this, that is, if I want to keep a member safe under the action of a combined loading, then whatever the stress that will be induced in the member due to the application of the loading, it should be always less than or equal to sigma yt divided by FOS. So, here the value of sigma E, it will be equals to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. Sometimes what happens is, the given member will be subjected to a loading condition in such a way that we will get only the normal stress either in x direction, or we get the normal stress either in y direction. In such cases, the normal stress induced will be considered as sigma, and the shear stress induced in a member will be taken as tau, and because of which the maximum normal stress or sigma E, it can be calculated by using the equation sigma by 2 plus square root of sigma by 2 whole square plus tau square. Then coming to the maximum shear stress theory. So, according to the maximum shear stress theory, in order to keep the design under safe, the value of the stress that will be induced in a member due to the combined loading, it should be always less than or equal to sigma yt divided by 2 times factor of safety. So, here sigma E, it can be calculated by using the formula square root of in bracket sigma x minus sigma y whole square plus 4 tau square, or it can also be calculated by using the formula sigma square plus 4 times tau square. So, using these formulas, let us try to solve a problem on theories of failure. The given problem statement goes like this: a solid circular shaft is subjected to bending moment of 40 kilonewton meter and torque 10 kilonewton meter, full stop. Determine the diameter of the shaft according to first maximum normal stress theory, second one maximum shear stress theory. Take yield stress equals 200 megapascal and factor of safety equals 2. So, the given problem is like this: we are having a circular shaft. This shaft is subjected to a bending moment of magnitude 40 kilonewton meter, and also torque of magnitude 10 kilonewton meter. So, when this member is subjected to these two loadings, I should find what should be the diameter of the shaft in order to withstand these two loading. So, I need to find this D by using case 1 maximum normal stress theory and case 2 the maximum shear stress theory. So, first I will write the data. The first data is we are having a solid circular shaft. It means that the cross section of the given shaft, it is circular, then it is subjected to a bending moment. The bending moment is denoted by M and it is equals to 40 kilonewton meter. So, 40 into kilo, it is 10 to the power of 3, and if I convert meter to millimeter, then I will get 10 to the power of 3. So, 10 to the power of 3 into 10 to the power of 3, it will be 10 to the power of 6 Newton millimeter. Then it is subjected to a torque of magnitude 10 kilonewton meter. So, 10 into kilo is 10 to the power of 3 and 1 meter will be equals to 1000 millimeter. So, this is 10 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton millimeters. Then the other data given is the yield stress of the shaft material is given. The yield stress of the shaft material, it is denoted by sigma y suffix t and it is equals to 200 megapascal or it is 200 Newton per mm square. Then the factor of safety is given as 2. So, using these conditions, let us try to find the diameter of the shaft. So, before finding the diameter, first let us try to see what are the different type of stresses that will be induced due to the bending moment M and the torque T. So, first let us calculate the stress due to the bending moment of magnitude 40 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton millimeter. We know that due to the bending moment, the type of stress induced in a member is a bending stress, and in order to calculate the bending stress, we will be using the equation M by I equals sigma B divided by Y. Here I need sigma B, therefore sigma B equals M divided by I into Y. To calculate sigma B, here I need 3 values. One is M, which will be 40 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton millimeter, and I should find I as well as Y. We know that for a circular cross section, the value of I, it is pi times d to the power of 4 divided by 64, and for the circular cross section, the value of Y, it is diameter divided by 2. By substituting the values of I and Y in this equation, we get M divided by I is pi d to the power of 4 divided by 64 into Y is d divided by 2. So, this will be equals to 64 times M divided by pi into d to the power of 4 into d divided by 2. So, 2 ones are 2 and it is 32, 1D will cancel out. Therefore, sigma B it will be equals to 32m divided by pi into d cube. So, this equals 32 into the value of m is 40 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by pi times d to the power of 3. By using the calculator, I can simplify this and I can get the value of sigma B in terms of d cube. So, sigma B will be equals to 407.36 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton per mm square. So, due to the bending load, we get a bending stress of magnitude 407.36 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by d cube. Now, let us try to find the stress due to the torque T. We know that due to the torque load, the type of stress induced in a given member, it is shear in nature, and to calculate the shear stress, we will be using the torsional equation, which is given by T by J equals tau by R equals G theta divided by L. Suppose if I use the first and second terms, then T divided by J equals tau divided by R. Since I need the value of tau, so tau will be equals to T divided by J into R. For the circular cross section, the value of J, it is pi into d to the power of 4 divided by 32, and the value of R in terms of diameter, it is d divided by 2. So, by substituting the value of J and R in this equation, I get T divided by, in place of J, I am substituting pi divided by 32 into d to the power of 4 into the value of R, it is d divided by 2. So, this equals 32 into T divided by pi into d to the power of 4 into d divided by 2. 2 ones are 2 16s are, and this d will cancel out, then I will get the value of tau as 16t divided by pi d cube. So, 16 into the value of t, it is 10 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by pi into d cube. Therefore, the value of tau in terms of d cube is 50.92 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by d cube. This is the value of the shear stress that will be induced in a member due to the application of torque of magnitude 10 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton millimeter. Now, once you find the type of stress that are induced in the member due to the application of load, then we will find the diameter. First, by making use of the maximum normal stress theory. The maximum normal stress theory, it states that for safe design, the amount of stress, normal stress that will be induced in a member, it should be less than or equal to sigma yt divided by FOS. The value of sigma E, it can be found by using the equation sigma by 2 plus square root of sigma by 2 whole square plus tau square. So it should be less than or equal to the value of sigma yt is 200 divided by the value of FOS given is 2. The value of sigma, it represents the normal stress. So here we are having only one normal stress, sigma b. Therefore we can take sigma b itself as sigma, and it is equals to 407.36 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by 2 times d cube plus square root of 407.36 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by 2 times d cube whole square plus the value of tau, it is 50.92 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by 2 times d cube whole square. So this will be less than or equal to 200 by 2, it is 100. If you observe all the t terms, in the denominator we are having 2d cube as common, and if you observe the numerator, there we are having 10 to the power of 6 as common. So if I take 10 to the power of 6 divided by 2 times d cube outside, then I will be left with 407.36 plus square root of 407.36 whole square plus 50.92 whole square. So this will be equals to less than or equals to 100. So if you see this equation here, the only unknown is d. If you solve this, you will get the value of d, and it is equals to 160 millimeters. Now let us try to find what will be the value of the diameter according to the maximum shear stress theory. According to the maximum shear stress theory, in order to make the design safe, then whatever the stress that will be induced in a member, it should be always less than or equal to sigma yt divided by 2 times FOS. Here, in order to calculate the value of sigma e, we should use the equation square root of sigma square plus 4 times tau square. It should be lesser than or equal to sigma yt is 200 divided by 2 times the factor of safety given is 2. The value of sigma, it is again 407.36 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by d cube whole square plus 4 times the value of tau, it is 50.92 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by d cube whole square. So this should be less than or equal to 200 by 2, it is 100, 100 by 2 is 50. So if you observe these two terms, in the denominator we are having d cube common, and in the numerator we are having 10 to the power of 6 common. So if I take it outside, I will be left with 407.36 whole square plus 4 into 50.92 whole square. It should be less than or equals to 50. If you observe this equation, here we are having only one unknown, which is d. So if you solve this equation, you will get the value of d and the value of D you are going to get it as 161.32 millimeters. So, here we are having two choices for the diameter, one is 160 millimeter and another one is 161.32 millimeters. So, if I choose the diameter of the shaft as 160 millimeters, then this shaft will be safer under the action of these two loads when it is subjected to according to the maximum normal stress theory. But if you come to the maximum shear stress theory, then this shaft will not withstand that load because by taking the diameter of 160 millimeters. But if I choose the diameter of the shaft as 161.32, which is greater than 160, then this shaft will look safer according to maximum normal stress theory and also according to the maximum shear stress theory. Therefore, diameter of shaft D equals 161.32 millimeters. So, here 161.32, it is the higher value of the two diameters we are having.